For most of human history, the bed you slept in last night didn't exist. No mattress, no pillow, no bedroom. And yet, people slept. But here's the strange part. They didn't sleep the way you do. Go back just 200 years, and you'd find the entire night divided in two. And what people did in the middle of the night is something we've completely forgotten. This is the lost history of sleep. Our story begins 77,000 years ago, in a cave in South Africa. There, archaeologists found the oldest bed ever discovered. It wasn't wood, it wasn't stone. It was a mattress of grass and leaves, pressed flat by sleeping bodies. And here's the remarkable detail. The leaves came from a tree whose chemicals repel mosquitoes. 77,000 years before science, someone invented the insect-proof mattress. For our ancestors, night wasn't restful. It was the most dangerous part of the day. So they slept in groups, close to the fire, never all at once. Someone always kept watch, which may be why, even today, some of us are night owls. And that was sleep, for tens of thousands of years. The ground, a fire, each other. The bed as furniture was born in Egypt about 5,000 years ago. And the reason beds were raised off the floor had nothing to do with comfort. It was about what crawled across the floor at night. Scorpions, snakes, rats. The cold night air settling low. A raised bed wasn't luxury. It was survival. Lifted 30 centimeters off the ground. But beds quickly became something else. A way to show power. When the boy King Tutankhamun was buried, 6 beds were sealed into his tomb. One was covered in gold. Yet even pharaohs didn't sleep on pillows. They rested their heads on a curved stand of wood or stone. Ordinary Egyptians? Most slept on palm leaves, or up on the flat roof, where the night air was cool. One civilization, 2 completely different nights. Jump forward to medieval Europe, and sleep becomes something you share. The whole family slept in a single bed. Parents, children, grandparents, together. In winter, the animals slept inside too. Their warmth helped heat the room. The mattress was a cloth sack stuffed with straw. When people say hit the hay, they mean it literally. In parts of Europe, beds were built into the wall, wooden boxes with doors that closed. Climb in, shut the doors, and you were safe from the cold and the dark. And if you traveled, you shared a bed at the inn with a complete stranger. This was so normal that etiquette books gave rules for sharing a bed politely. One English inn even built a bed 4 meters wide, said to hold 15 people. Shakespeare joked about it. For most of history, sleep was never private. Privacy is the modern invention. But Europe's answer to the night was only one of many. In Japan, the bed disappeared every morning. A cotton futon laid out on woven straw mats at night, then rolled up and put away at sunrise. The bedroom simply ceased to exist. In Korea, people slept on the floor itself, because the floor was warm. Smoke from the kitchen fire was channeled under the stone. Central heating, 1,000 years early. In Central America, people escaped the ground entirely. They slept in the air. The hammock was so brilliant that European sailors adopted it, and navies slept in them for 400 years. In India, the charpai, a light rope bed, was carried up to the roof on hot nights. Different climates, different dangers, different beds. Every culture solved the night in its own way. But the strangest difference isn't where people slept. It's how. A historian named Roger E. Kirch spent 20 years reading old letters, diaries, and court records, and he kept finding 2 phrases again and again. First sleep and second sleep. More than 500 references. Across centuries. Across countries. The pattern was always the same. People went to bed soon after sunset, slept for about 4 hours, and then woke up. Around midnight. Not by accident. Not from worry. Everyone woke. It was expected. For an hour or two, the world was quietly awake. They called it the watch. People prayed, tended the fire, checked the animals. They talked in bed for hours about the dreams they'd just had, while the dreams were still fresh. Some visited neighbors, some brewed ale, some simply lay still, halfway between dreams. The French had a word for that drifting state. Dorveil. Sleep-wake. Doctors even recommended the waking hour as the best time for couples to conceive. Then, everyone went back to bed for the second sleep until dawn. 2 sleeps. 1 quiet hour in between. For thousands of years, that was a normal night. And if you think this was just culture, a scientist accidentally proved it runs deeper. In the 1990s, researcher Thomas Ware gave volunteers 14 hours of darkness every night for a month. Within weeks, their sleep split in 2. 4 hours, a calm waking hour, then 4 hours more. The 2 sleeps came back on their own. They were never gone. They were waiting underneath the electric light. So what happened? What killed the second sleep? The answer is light. For most of history, light after sunset was a luxury. Candles burned money by the hour. If something wasn't important, people said it wasn't worth the candle. The phrase survives to this day. So when the sun set, the world stopped. Night belonged to sleep. Then came the street lamps. Then the coffee houses, open late into the evening. Then gaslight. And in 1879, the electric bulb. For the first time ever, night was usable. You could work, read, stay out late. Bedtime drifted later and later, but the factory whistle still blew at dawn. Sleep was squeezed from both ends. There was no room left for a quiet hour in the middle. People even hired human alarm clocks, knocker-uppers, who tapped on bedroom windows with long poles before sunrise. And so the second sleep faded, not banned, not forgotten overnight, just squeezed out. By the 1920s, the words first asleep had vanished from letters, from books, and from memory. In barely 1 century, we forgot how humanity had slept for thousands of years. Which brings us to you, to 3 a.m. You wake in the dark, heart sinking. You call it insomnia. You call it broken sleep. But researchers know that waking in the middle of the night is one of the most common things a human body does. Maybe nothing is broken. Maybe your body remembers a rhythm older than the light bulb. That dark hour once belonged to prayers, to whispered talk, to dreams discussed while still warm. So the next time you wake at midnight, don't reach for your phone. Don't fight it. Lie still. Let your thoughts drift. You're not failing at sleep. You're sleeping. The way humans always did. Beds changed. Walls changed. The lights came on. But the night is still the same night.